I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time. Apologize for being a little bit late. We had a work session prior to the meeting tonight, and we went over just a little bit, so I do apologize for being late. Mr. Childs, would you please do the invocation? Mr. Rogers, would you lead us in the pledge?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the many things you give us. Thank you for our city, our citizens, and our state, and our country. Be with us as we have this meeting. Help us to make the right decisions and take care of everybody in this great city, great state, and great nation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes of the previous council meeting. If members of council had an opportunity to review these, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is communications from the mayor. Hey, this tonight's going to be one I'm really going to enjoy. If y'all look around, you notice a lot of youth in our audience tonight. And they're a special group, and we need to let them know that this city and this community is behind you guys. I think what y'all have done so far this season is just unbelievable. You're to be commended for it. Coach Campbell, you're to be commended for it. But this group we have with us tonight is members of LFO football team. And if you hadn't been out to support them this year, I really encourage you to do so. They've got a beautiful new facility, new stands. I sat in them Friday night before last, very comfortable. And we just can't tell you how much we appreciate you and how proud we are of you. And just to let you know that hard work does pay off, we want all you guys to come up here. Coach Campbell, if you'd get them all up front here where we can get them all where everybody can see them. We're going to get them on TV tonight. So bring the group up here. You take it.
How you, buddy?
Good.
Pretty big boys there.
Say one and I'll stand on chairs.
That's all right. We need to let them be seen.
Coach Campbell and the seniors on
Where's Jeff Long at?
Where's he?
Come up here beside Craig if you don't mind, Jeff.
On behalf of the city, we'd like to say way to go on beating Ringo for the first time in the last 13 years. For that feat, we'd like to present Coach Campbell and the senior class. Key to the city.
Guys, if y'all could look this way real quick, okay? Y'all can scoot in a little bit closer. Coach Campbell, you too.
Hold the key right there. Hold it up down.
One guy's holding the front. Okay, one more second, guys. Adam. Good job, guys.
Good job.
Keep it going.
On behalf of us, just a little small token. We got an LFO logo car decal for all y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all y'all's support.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You know, I had our director of recreation, Mr. Long, come up because you guys don't realize it, but this makes an impact on the youth that we have at our recreation. You know, we start them out in a diaper league now, but you take these kids that's especially 8 years up, they look up to you guys. And when you start producing like this, we see our numbers go up because they want to be a warrior. And you guys have a big, huge impact on that, and you probably didn't even realize it. And if Coach Campbell ever let you out early, go by the practice field and just say hi to the guys. You know, if you got time when they have their ball games, go by. I'm sure Coach Crawford would welcome you down on the sidelines, and those kids would really get a thrill out of it. But because of y'all, our numbers in our recreation department is up. So we need to thank you for that part of it too. Congratulations to you again, and we won't think you're rude if you want to leave. If Coach Campbell, I'm sure you guys have got things to do. So if you just want to take a minute, Coach Campbell, if they want to leave, we certainly understand they don't want to sit through these meetings. That's entirely up to you, sir. Next item on the agenda is zoning matters. We have none. Next item on the agenda is ordinances. Ordinance number 1 is third and final reading of ordinance number 2017-06, amendment to the soil and erosion ordinance. Mr. Stoltz.
Amendment to the Soil Erosion and Sediment Control Ordinance, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to provide for certain revisions of the Soil Erosion and Sediment Control Ordinance, to amend the definitions of CPESC and final stabilization, Chapter 34, Article 2, Section 34 definitions, to provide for provisions therein as is authorized by state law, to provide for modifications, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances or parts thereof, to provide for adoption and effective date, and for all other purposes allowed by law. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is authorized under Article 11, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the Official Code of Georgia annotated 3635-3, and the Charter of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, welfare, and aesthetics of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is vested in the City Council composed of a mayor and 5 council members, whereas the Georgia Erosion Sediment Act, OCGA Section 12788A2, requires review, revision, or amendment of a local issuing authority's ordinances within 12 months of any amendment to the chapter, and whereas the model soil erosion sediment control ordinance was revised by the state to include modified definitions of CPESC and final stabilization. Now, therefore, it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe that the soil erosion and sediment ordinance for the City of Fort Oglethorpe is hereby amended as follows. New. CPESC means Certified Professional in Erosion and Sediment Control with current certification by EnviroCert Incorporated, which is also referenced as CPESC-C or CPESC Incorporated. Final stabilization means all soil disturbing activities at the site have been completed, and that for unpaved areas and areas not covered by permanent structures and areas located outside the waste disposal limits of a landfill cell that has been certified by EPD for waste disposal. 100% of the soil surface is uniformly covered in permanent vegetation with a density of 70% or greater, or landscaped according to the plan uniformly covered with landscaping materials in planned landscape areas, or equivalent permanent stabilization measures as defined by the manual, excluding crop of annual vegetation and seeding of target crop perennials appropriate to the region. Final stabilization applies to each phase of construction. Severability clause. In any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phrase, or any portion of this ordinance be declared invalid or unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, or if the provision of any part of this ordinance is applied to any particular situation or set of circumstances, shall be invalid or unconstitutional. Such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not be construed to affect portions of the ordinance not so held to be invalid or unconstitutional. It is hereby declared to be the intent of the governing authority for the city of Fort Oglethorpe to provide for severable and divisible parts, and is hereby adopts any and all parts hereof as may not be held invalid for any reason. Nothing in this ordinance shall supersede existing state laws. Effective date of the ordinance shall be the date upon which same is approved by the governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, executed by the mayor and filed with the clerk of the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Third reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second, sir.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Ms. Tennant?
Yes.
Ms. James?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2 under ordinances, second reading of ordinance number 2017-07, permit fee ordinance. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance to set permit fees, whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is authorized under Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the Official Code of Georgia annotated 3635-3, and the Charter of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, welfare, aesthetics of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, and whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is vested in the City Council composed of the mayor and 5 council members, and whereas that all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict are hereby repealed. Now therefore it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe that the following shall constitute amended permit fee schedule as required by the charter of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, section 6.15. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and city council. Said ordinance is available in the clerk's office for review.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 3 under ordinances, second reading, annexation, ordinance number 2017-08, Justin Hunt, 990 Steel Road, Rossville, Georgia. Mr. Stokes.
Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by the authority thereof, that the following property owned by Justin Hunt and HTH Development, known as 990 Steel Road, is annexed into the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Said property is particularly described on the ordinance. This ordinance of annexation is available in the clerk's office. This is the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 4 under ordinances, second reading, zoning ordinance number 2017-09, rezone to R5 residential multifamily zoning, Justin Hunt, 990 Steel Road, Rossville, Georgia. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance 2017-09, rezoning, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof that the following property owned by Justin Hunt and HTH Development, known as 990 Steel Road, Rossville, Georgia 30741, is hereby rezoned to an R5 residential multi-family zoning. Said property is particularly described in the deed attached here 2, and it is available in the clerk's office. This is the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Item number 5 under ordinances, first reading of ordinance number 2017-10, the fiscal year 2018 budget.
Ordinance number 2017-10, ordinance to approve the 2018 fiscal year budget for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the Official Code of Georgia annotated 3635-3, and the Charter for the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, welfare of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is vested in the City Council composed of the mayor and 5 council members, It is thereby ordained by the governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe that the following shall constitute the fiscal year 2018 budget. This ordinance shall take effect January 1st, 2018. Budget is available in the clerk's office. This is the first reading, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. We have none. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We have none. Next item on the agenda is reading of city clerk of any communications. We have none. Brings us to new business. Article 1, proposed approval of quitclaim deed. Mr. Stoltz.
Mr. Patty, would you come up?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, as everyone knows, this is Mr. Clifton Patty, the county attorney, and he actually is representing an individual, Mr. Haskins, in this. We, back over the past years, have been unable to locate a particular grant or deed or resolution in the minutes with respect to a parcel of property that the city abandoned in 2007?
Well, sometime before then.
And in talking with Mr. Patty, it would benefit to clear the title up that we were to, if we, the city, were to grant or execute a quitclaim deed to this particular property. We haven't had anything to do with the property in many, many years. We basically have abandoned it to legally back in 2007, and this just to clear the title up. Mr. Patty?
You pretty much summed it up, Mr. Stoltz. What happened, Stewart Road was abandoned by the county, and half of the road went to Dr. Haskins, who I represent. Half of the road went to Parkway Baptist Church. Parkway Baptist Church has title to its half that it got from the city of Fort Oglethorpe, but in the deed it didn't make any reference to the ordinance abandoning that road, and we're still looking for the ordinance. The city came back and wanted to put a water line on that property and actually got an easement from Dr. Haskins indicating that the city at least knew that he owned that property because he granted you an easement to put a water line on that road up to Cloud Springs Road. What we're asking is that the city approve a quitclaim deed saying we don't know if we've got an interest in this or not, but if we do, we're conveying it over to Dr. Haskins.
And I reviewed the deed and I recommend it.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or any questions of Mr. Patty or Mr. Stoltz? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2 under new business, proposed approval for the contract between the city of Fort Oglethorpe and Catoosa Citizens for Literacy. Ms. Simpkins.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is a proposal for the Catoosa Citizens for Literacy to continue initiating, planning, directing, and coordinating programs for improving literacy levels in the city of Fort Oglethorpe. All of these classes are held at the Catoosa County Learning Center. They oversee GED classes. In 2015, we had 25 students from the city of Fort Oglethorpe participate, and 2 of them graduated. In 2016, we had 18 from the city of Fort Oglethorpe, 2 of them graduated. In 2017, we had 19 students from the city of Fort Oglethorpe, and 2 of them graduated. The Learning Center pays $160 for the GED testing for all Catoosa residents until the funding runs out. Our cost is $5,000 for these services. We recommend approval. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Do I have a second? Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3 under new business, proposed approval of variance for 18-acre lot, 150 LF west of Aviation Drive, Steel Road, map number 0010C008, owner Charlie Whitmire, DBA Whitmire Construction LLC. Mr. Quarles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a request for a variance for a setback on the subdivision. The application variance is paid. The public notice was put out on the 13th of September, and the appeals board approved this setback.
Thank you, Mr. Quarles. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did you say aye?
Is this what we just discussed right there? That had not gone through?
No.
No. Okay. Then aye.
Okay. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 4 under new business, proposed approval of the City of Chattanooga recalculated invoices. Ms. Simpkins.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is a request to pay the City of Chattanooga in the total amount of $333,553.53. That's a mouthful. The interjurisdictional agreement between the City of Chattanooga and the City of Fort Oglethorpe provides for a periodic revision of user fees. For 8 of the past 12 years, Chattanooga's recalculations resulted in payments back to the City of Fort Oglethorpe. And the total value of those 8 payments back to the City of Fort Oglethorpe is $212,373.14. Additionally, a credit was issued in the amount of $212,373 by Chattanooga in 2014. And 2 of the past 12 years, 2015 and 2016, the recalculation requires the City of Fort Oglethorpe to make additional payment to the City of Chattanooga. In 2015, it was just under $40,000. In 2016, $293,000. We recommend approval of making these payments to the City of Chattanooga.
Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Well, I hope they slow down. They bid $1 million in 3 years if they keep that same increase going. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Article number 5 under new business, proposed approval of the engineering contract for sewer capacity assurance. Mr. Parker.
Mr. Mayor, what this request is, the intergovernmental agreement that we're now in with Chattanooga requires that any wastewater project that's going to be built in the city that's going to generate more than 5,000 gallons a day must be approved by the city, then submitted to the City of Chattanooga for their review and approval. This request is for us to use an engineer on an as-needed basis to support us in our determination if we have the capacity to meet those requirements. Chattanooga is heavily monitored by EPA, so they will be heavily looking after what we send to them. So it's imperative that what we send up to Chattanooga that we're comfortable with and confident in. We have had some submittals to us already in not as in drawings or anything, but just in emails, and I'm not comfortable with engineers and their assessment of what their flow rate's going to be. I think they've lowballed us on a couple of these things, and so what we want to do is be able to have our engineer back us up. So this will be on an as-needed basis. This agreement terminates at the end of the year because the funding for this is in my operational budget for 2017. So at the end of this year, this contract terminates, and it's stated in the agreement that it terminates on December 31st of this year. So if we need that service again, we'll look at it again after the first of the year. This is something that we have to do until in the intergovernmental agreement, there's a capacity assurance program that we have to implement. We're granted 3 years to implement that program because there is a lot of studies that are going to have to go on and ensure that we have the capacity to handle the flows. This is a quick way to get this done until we get to where we need to be.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second, sir.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Let me just add one thing here. I want to say I'm glad that we're giving you these figures and these numbers, but, I get phone calls every day from concerned citizens about these water bills. And you just need to know that this council is not sitting up here saying yes to a vote to money that we as a city are going to get. It's just like this $350,000 that Ms. Simpkins described, and that's why we do it, so that you as citizens will know where this money's going. The city's not keeping any of it. As a matter of fact, we've had some times when instead of trying to collect it, we've took it out of our reserve and just paid it. But this thing with Chattanooga, I'm sorry to say, is only going to get worse. I mean, they're under so many mandates from the state, and they're just passing it on down. And if you've got friends and relatives that live in Walker County, you've seen what they've had to do. But we just want you to know that this council's not up here passing these things, putting money in this city's pocket. Everything that we pass is going straight to Chattanooga. And, East Ridge is under the same thing. I'm sure if you read the papers, you just seen where they had to borrow $8 million just to get started on theirs to get it in compliance. And thankfully, we're not in that bad a shape. But I just wanted the people to know that when you hear these water and sewers and this money, like this $350,000 that we just had to pay, that's going straight to Chattanooga. I'll have to sign that check tomorrow. So, the city's not raising our water rates and increasing our revenue on water. We're just simply trying to stay in compliance. And unfortunately, we're at Chattanooga's mercy. We get it from there and we send it back there, and we don't have any other choice. But I just thought that the people need to know that this council's not up here making decisions and just increasing your water bill to put money in the city's pocket, because it's not that at all. Item number 6 under new business, proposed approval of dog park site and estimated budget. Mr. Long.
Yes, Mayor. Right quick before I start this, Austin Cope, could you come? Austin, I will call out Austin and several of his teammates that come up to the recreation this summer when we was getting ready for the Honeycutt World Series and all, and hand dug the infields, the grass off of it, and also several on the football team helped, and just like to thank y'all and go Warriors. All right. Now on our dog park, back July 25th, 2016, the mayor and council discussed the idea of developing a dog park. Since I got back this year, some of the discussion has come up. We've been looking in it and looked at 3 or 4 different places, and one location we found of some city unused property that's pretty much not developable for anything to develop would be under the TVA power lines there at Van Cleve Street and Patterson Avenue. I have talked with TVA and discussed this situation if we wanted to put in a dog park, and they said it shouldn't be any problem. There would just be stipulations about trees couldn't get over 10 foot high and different things, but and said they would work closer, but they would work with us and run the numbers to do everything there, which this park would be about 400 feet long and about 150 feet wide. Would be divided off into 2 areas for the small dogs and the larger dogs for a running area with a 5-foot fence. But to do everything that would need to be done on here, the estimated amount would be $40,000, and was just gonna bring it before y'all tonight if y'all wanted to approve this, and then would be something I think, we've had some discussion about maybe having some public meetings, and I'll just make sure everybody's on board, but just to see if y'all wanted to go further with this or what you wanted to do.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Have a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any discussion?
Is this budgeted? Because I know at one time we had talked about we was gonna do it off donations and stuff like that.
We have $15,000 in the 2017 adopted budget set aside for the development of a dog park. And we have had discussions about looking to the public to get some donations. But because we don't have those donations committed at this time, we're putting everything that's needed into our request.
And this don't affect the insurance or anything like that?
It doesn't. We received a official correspondence from our insurance provider. It does not change our insurance rates. It does increase the city's liability, and Mr. Stoltz can talk about what we would need to do to protect the city, just like our pool, our athletic facilities and things like that.
Do you have a plan on it, or?
No, I've got it sketched out.
It's in there. It's in there.
But we hadn't, and we went and looked at a few of them and some different ones and got the ideas, and then looked up through the American Kennel Club, had some diagrams and had some stuff on setting them up. But as far as like a gate where a dog couldn't get out, it'd be a double gated. You'd have a small area, and then you would go into another gate to go into the large areas and things like that of it, and then pick some small parking area off of Van Cleve Street. Will be there in front of it.
Is this a growing thing?
Yes. Yes, the younger generation is expecting that in most cities.
Can we approve up to 15,000 on this, or do we have to approve the full 40? Like, what are we gonna, like, if we go out and try to find money in donations and things like that, I guess my point is, can we approve 15 to start the project and then find the money to get up, since we have 15 budgeted? I don't know if that's possible or not.
Well, you have approved the 15,000 as part of the 2017 budget. This is asking for a transfer of an additional 25,000 so that we can absolutely have enough funding to cover the project. So this is really asking for approval of the location.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of discussion in the beginning about where this would be located, and also approval for us to move forward with up to $40,000. And then hopefully we are able to get some donations, but we don't know that for sure.
Commissioner Rogers, Councilman Rogers, one of the things, if y'all wanted to start on this and do this year, like the driveway entrance, cutting that in there at the sidewalk, we could do the land structure parts. We'd need to nose it off to get all because there've been trees and stuff that's grown up, and we could cut that off and do seeding and strawing. Then there's a ditch there to be piped. Some of those things we could do probably within that 15,000 in this year's budget if y'all wanted to do that to get started on it, and then look into some of the other, but that would be some of the base stuff there. And if you decided not to with doing that, you could still use it for other items there that it could just be mowed with a regular mower versus a bush hog and different things if you did decide not to move forward with it.
Do you have money allocated in your 18 budget?
I think that would be
No, only for
that would be a
maintenance.
capital, wouldn't it?
Yes, and we had maintenance budgeted in 2018.
I know you have some fence and stuff in your budget sometimes.
Yeah, no, nothing we allocated in next year's budget other than it would be coming out of a capital project.
have we researched, are there grants available for dog parks? They seem to be a very popular thing, as Council Lady James said. In most municipality areas, they are including dog parks nowadays. So are there grants out there, maybe through the state?
I don't know. I know there's, about the only one I've heard of was the spade and neuter. That time that was come up, there was a group there, the volunteer group that had did that, but that's about all. I hadn't saw anything come across, or which grants, state grants is pretty much a thing of the past anymore, as far as on, unless it's a major thing, fire, police, stuff like that. They've limited it back so much with budget cuts.
My last question, and seems like the city's going to the dogs. No, I'm just kidding. But I know, I'm just teasing. But the last question is, who's in charge of the fund? I mean, where's that come? I mean, we say fundraising, but where is that, a committee, or is that, what is that? I mean,
I think all of those are great questions and should be part of your consideration if you want to move forward now. If you want to kind of get out there and see what the community wants and how much they want to be engaged, that's also an option.
yeah.
Can we do a survey? Is that about donations, if they want it, or?
I mean, I don't have a problem.
I mean,
like what you said, Ruben, what you said, the 15.
Yeah.
Seek partnerships in business and sponsorships, maybe?
So how would we, if we wanted to approve the 15, would we need to change the request?
Yeah, you just make a motion to change the request.
That way we could start the project like you're talking
Start
about.
it, and then
And then we could look at the donations and see what happens. And
If
then
I might make a suggestion here, why don't we just table it? Because if you're going after public input and you're trying to get some answers, we don't know which way this is gonna go. So I wouldn't commit the 15,000. We know it's available. And if everything we get back is favorable, then we can move forward to it without committing. You know, we can table it and get the answer to all of y'all's questions and put it back on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
That's fine with me.
I need a
So
motion.
we need a motion.
But is it gonna take so long getting those answers back from the citizens that you're gonna run, this money's in 2017, the 15,000?
Well, it is,
Can it be
but
rolled?
she's also, which I didn't really understand where she was going to get it from, seeking an additional 25. But even if the 15 is in 2017 and it does go back into 2018, you certainly could carry that amount over in that same line item.
Well, it is, the 15,000 is in the operating budget
Right.
for 2017.
Right, it's not in a
So-
line item, it's in the operational budget
Right,
because
so-
it was added to it.
Right, so those, at the end of the year, all of that, anything that isn't spent is rebudgeted into what we presented earlier.
Right.
So we could do a budget amendment next year to get the additional funds. That's not a problem, but it is not, no additional funding is in 2018 other than, I believe it's about $2,000 for maintenance, because we know we'll have maintenance expenses associated with the park.
But 15 carries over. That was her question.
Well, it wouldn't carry over,
No,
but you
it
can
doesn't.
But it's still there.
Go back in the
It's
reserve.
there
I mean,
until
we
the
got
end
it
of
in
the
there,
year.
we don't spend it, it'll be in reserves, and we could certainly do an amendment and put it back in there.
Yes.
You know, I think you get your donations and get your things, I'd rather start it and complete it as to,
I'm fine with that.
How would we do that?
Make a
I
motion to
just need a
table.
motion to table it.
You make that motion?
Make a motion to table.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to table Article number 6 under new business. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 7 under new business, proposed approval of contract between the City of Fort Oglethorpe and Catoosa County Tax Commissioner, Ms. Simpkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Patty, would you like to approach? And I can give you a quick summary. Essentially, we have been paying $2.50 per parcel in the City of Fort Oglethorpe for Catoosa County and the Tax Commissioner's Office to collect our taxes. We estimate about $1.5 million in revenue, so that's a very small percentage. That's a very small cost compared to what it would cost the city to do it on our own, outside of Catoosa County's help. So, do you want to explain the changes?
Sure. The county's actually been collecting your taxes for, best we can figure, 15 years. When the new tax commissioner came in, we started looking for the contract, and there isn't one. They had an understanding that Catoosa County would be paid $1.50 per tax parcel, and that the tax commissioner, as the tax commissioner's personal income, would be paid $1 per parcel. So what we have done now, we have prepared a tax service agreement between Catoosa County and the city of Fort Oglethorpe, whereby Catoosa County will collect Fort Oglethorpe's taxes and be paid $1.50 as it is now for 2017. However, in 2018, that fee would go up a nickel per parcel. And like over a 10-year period, it would come out to $2 a parcel. The cap is at $2.50, which would be 15 years out. The tax commissioner is also compensated. Presently, he's compensated at $1 per parcel, and his fee would go up to $1.50 per parcel. However, his fee does not increase. It goes to $1.50 and stops. So this year, you would have, and I've asked him to text me how many parcels you've got, but this year there would be no increase at the county level. However, at the tax commissioner level, there would be an increase from $1 to $1.50. My recollection is, I hate to do that on my recollection, but it was something like, wasn't it $20,000 total?
What we budgeted is for 2017 is $10,250. That's estimating 4,100 parcels. And so if the new rate at $3 a parcel would be a total cost of $12,300, so it's less than $2,000 increase in 2017.
Right. The agreement also provides for the city to pay a portion of any kind of new equipment and software that the county has to acquire in order to collect the taxes. You would pay 12.5% up to a cap of $2,500 per tax year. That's about the only differences in the contract now and the way that we were working before under just a letter agreement between Sandra Self and some past administration of the city of Fort Oglethorpe. We would just send you a bill at the end of the tax year. Under this agreement, we prepare your digest, we send out your bills, we collect your money, we remit your money twice a month during the term of the contract. And our services are audited to make sure they're correct in connection with the county annual audit of our financial statements.
Have a motion to approve?
Make a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I did hear you say that this was cheaper than us handling it ourselves, correct?
It is.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
No doubt about it.
Mr. Patty, is there any way the county would reconsider this equipment charge? It sounds like you're anticipating going up each year for the next 10 years based on what you said.
Well,
and if in fact you got to have equipment to collect it for the county anyway, do you think the county would consider dropping that charge?
Well, if you approved it without that charge in there, I'm sure they wouldn't have much of a choice.
Well, they'd have a choice. They wouldn't have to approve.
Well, that's true, but
and I don't think that's being unreasonable. Any equipment that you would have to purchase, the county's going to have to purchase it anyway.
You're
And
right.
certainly since it appears that you're going to be increasing the fee, which is understandable over the years, we just gotta, I mean, I personally feel like what we're paying should include that equipment.
Good point.
There is no additional charge for the equipment in 2017. There is projected to be some in
No,
2018.
it would be per year. So
Right.
the way that it's written now, it would continue on. So I understand, Mayor.
Is
I mean,
that
it
something we
appears we've
need,
gotta have-
you need to go back to the board and see if they are agreeable on it, and then we could put it on the next agenda?
Well, our problem is we got to start collecting on the 20th of October.
Thank goodness for special call meetings.
What I would suggest that you approve it without that, and I'm pretty confident that the Board of Commissioners will approve it.
All right, sir. We certainly would take your word for it. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
You need a motion to,
I thought I had one before we started discussing.
Yeah,
we changed it. Now you need a motion to change the contract.
Well, according to what Mr. Patty said, we're not changing it. He said that approve it as is, and he didn't think the Board of Commissioners would have any problem. Is that what you said, Mr. Patty?
Why don't you approve it minus paragraph 6?
So we need a new motion to approve minus paragraph 6.
That's correct.
Correct?
Right.
Motion to approve minus paragraph 6, please, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Patty?
One exception.
All right.
If the county has to get equipment or supplies that are applicable just to Fort Oglethorpe, y'all would pay for those.
Yeah, because I don't see I'd be any difference.
I don't see
Everyone's
how
in
that
the
would
city,
come
they've
up.
got on the county tax table already.
Right.
So they're not, it's not, I mean, they gotta have it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. That's fine. Did I get the second?
I did, you did.
All right, I got the motion and the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda is city manager's report. Ms. Simpkins?
All I have this evening is just to mention that we've started our milling and resurfacing with the LMIG grant funding, and we expect that to be done in the very near future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Simpkins. Next item on the agenda is city council comments and business. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you again to the football players that showed up. We're really proud of you guys, and also the families and coach and everybody that put so much into our community. We really appreciate it and are very, very thankful for all of you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Crawford?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what he was saying about the players, and a lot of them I've got to know over the years, like what you mentioned many earlier about coming through the rec. Many of these players, or most of them, come through up there, and they still give back up there, like Commissioner Long said about it during the honeycut and different things. And it's good to see them now coming to being young men and stand-up citizens. And also, we left one out. I'd like to thank the best ball guy in the community, old Corey Stanford back there. He keeps everybody straight, and he goes above and beyond, painting the fields and everything, getting them ready. Big shout out to Corey that helps with the football program. And at the end, I'd just like to change on the other end of on the Walker County side, one of our rivals. Our hearts go out to the Ridgeland community with the passing of Coach William Sandberg. He was the original or the initial football coach at Ridgeland. I know he was a big member and advocate in the VFW, and he was a veteran and always with a smile on his face, and he's going to be deeply missed.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Childs?
Just want to echo what they said. Congratulations, Coach, to you and your team. And one other thing, I guess I can say this. We take these meetings seriously. There's a lot of things going on in Fort O, our city. We just don't make decisions based on what we're looking at. We take it seriously, we read it, we try to get input, and then we'll try to make a decision. Doesn't mean we'll always make the right decision, but hopefully we will. We've got 5 people up here that are very dedicated to what they're doing, and thanks for the people that voted for us. We are not having an election. Thank you very much. So apparently our city's going in the right directions, and I know you got an 80-20 rule there. You can't make everybody happy, but if it's the right thing to do, and if we make a mistake, if I make a mistake, I'll tell you. I mean, I really will, and I think everybody on this panel will. But we have a lot of things coming in the near future, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Child. Ms. Stinnett?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I want to remind everyone, November the 11th is the Fort Oglethorpe 5K, as well as Veterans Day. So hope everyone will sign up. Got a lot of young athletes out here. Hope they'll sign up to be a part of the Fort Oglethorpe 5K. And December 9th, Saturday, December 9th, is our Christmas parade. So hope everyone will save the date and that you will be a part of the Christmas parade. Coach Campbell, hope with all of your young people, part of the Christmas parade on December the 9th. It will begin at 6 o'clock. Before that, we will have vendors on the polo field. And after the parade, photos with Santa and fireworks. Fireworks is a great addition to our parade this year. Last year, we had over 60 floats in the parade. This year, we're thinking it's going to be even bigger. LFO football, class of 83. I was told that Coach Campbell is not just a good football coach. I was told by several people that he goes way far beyond the football field, tutoring students in need of academic assistance and also helping families in need in this area. Coach, you're a blessing in all avenues. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Stinnett. Ms. James?
I'm a fellow warrior too, but I'm not going to tell you what year like Miss Stinnett did, so you just have to guess. But we welcome you here
92.
tonight. Yeah, I wish. And also, Lady Warriors, I think, are in the playoffs this week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So congratulations to them, and you guys are doing a great job. A lot of nice-looking young men out here, and we appreciate you. Good for our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. James. Next item on the agenda, citizens' petitions and requests. We have none. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Have a motion, to have a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.